Part 2. Part 2.
So Kim said, we're not saying you're taking resources away to be mean or xenophobic. We're saying it because it's the truth. That's what's happening.
And like I think like the larger part of everything is finding solutions instead of getting mad about shit and just saying, oh, blah blah blah. No, what's the solution?
And listen when Black Americans talk.
Please. I think that everybody wants to be heard, right? So when we're saying something and we're trying to get these thoughts out of our heads, we are met with so much resistance
from everyone everywhere.
Because like you immediately get in your feelings like, oh, so you don't want us there. Like, you're here already. We can't stop anybody from coming in. Shit, we didn't even ask to be here. Definitely. But we're here.
And had no say.
Yeah, but we're here and we've made a life for ourselves here. And we're still trying to better it. And like we said, everybody's benefiting from it. But we need to have these conversations.
Except us. Everybody's benefited from it except us.
Well, I mean, I thought that was apparent. So I
thought that was given. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So like, I want for all of us to thrive, but for all of us to thrive, like we have to individually do our shit, and that doesn't mean that we can't use each other as a resource to say, hey, how do you do this? It's like, let's create something, but like, we all got to do better. But like right now, I feel like we're pretty good.
I was just gonna say, I feel like Black Americans for the most part.
I feel like we're pretty good.
I feel like
us local blacks.
I feel like we do a lot. Like we're pretty fucking good. Like we're pretty decent.
I feel like the biggest takeaway would be like, if you guys are gonna be doing anything like on a tune of like what Black Americans do, it's like build your own shit.
Build your own fucking shit.
Build your own shit, and there's no shame in that. Like, it's gonna be difficult.
Stop getting offended when we call you foreign.
Yo, it's the if we are here, we are born here, we are native to this country, and then you are not from here and you come here, you're fucking foreign.
Like, foreign blacks.
Do you get mad when somebody calls a Lamborghini the foreign?
Who do they think they are? I said the same thing. I was like, everybody loves foreign when we're talking about foreign bitches, when we're talking about foreign cars, like when we're talking about foreign money.
Yo.
All of a sudden I call you a foreign black, you offended.
Yo,
how?
I shouldn't have you shouldn't call me a foreign black. Like if somebody just walked up and be like, hey, you're a local black, I'll be like, yep.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm from here.
But I'm saying, but the flip side of it again, when we abroad, they call us American.
Yeah, but they call us foreigners.
As in foreigners.
Yeah, it's not disrespectful. It's factual.
No, it's because they want to be down. They want to be down with Black Americans. They want to be down with
Black. That's true too.
They want to be down with Black American culture.
But you know what it is? It's so easy. It's so easy for foreign blacks to identify with Black Americans because for everybody else in the country, they look like us. It's so easy to mimic us. That I'm gonna put on this shirt. I'm gonna put on this, or I'm gonna put on this. I'm gonna say these words, and I can identify as Black American. Mm-hmm. Now we'll be able to be like, nigga, you ain't from here. Like, nigga, come on.
We can tell.
Yeah, immediately be like, come on, my nigga.
I can tell. I can tell. It'd be like,
nigga, you're not from here. Where you from?
Not from here.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Like, what's it like out there?
But they don't like that. They don't like that. They feel offended.
I think they don't like that on the internet. Because I have, like I said.
I know people in real life that don't like it.
Like what? Like, they get offended when we are able to say, like, you're not from here?
Yes, because they really want to be down. They really believe in, like...
But does being included mean that you're not down? Like you, again, it goes back to being an individual. Like, if I don't have the same, like, mindset that you have, like, we can't be cool because we're different?
They feel like Black American culture is cool.
It is. On God, that's a Black American culture term. On God, that's a West Coast thing. On God.
No cap.
That's a new one.
Yeah, no cap and on God. I mean, they say on God in New York too, but on cap and no God.
No cap.
No cap and on God mean like the exact same thing. So whenever people say like on God, I always think like no cap, like interchangeable.
I was like, I just started hearing that, so I was like,
no cap is fairly new, but like that's exactly what it means.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that means that white people caught on as soon as they catch on to that.
When you be like, I swear, like on God, they'd be like, no, I swear, like I'm not lying, like no cap. Yeah. So I feel like people feel like Black American culture is cool, and Black American cool is like a thing.
Black American cool is like top tier cool.
It's like top tier cool.
Top tier cool.
So it's like, even if you're dressed up in our clothes and you're using our slang terminology and you're dancing to the music and you're swag surfing and you're doing this and you're doing that, it's insulting when somebody still calls you a foreigner or a foreign black, because it's almost like they feel like as if we're trying to like take that Black American cool away from them, and it's not theirs. Like I feel like it's cultural appropriation. Like it's culture vulture shit that they
don't say that.
That they feel like they can do it because they're black. But when you say like, well, no, like a lot of that stuff is like specific yet again to our experience, our very specific experience as descendants of American chattel slavery. You can't just have that. You can't just put it on like a coat just because you're black. They get offended.
It's the same thing as like if we were to throw on a dashiki or like some traditional stuff.
I mean, a lot of them don't like that either.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen people go back and forth about that. I'm like,
and I don't wear dashikis for that exact reason. I personally feel like it's inappropriate. Like, I don't wear dashikis.
I mean, I got one at the house, but my Nigerian homegirl gave it to me. So, I mean, I don't know. Like,
I don't wear dashikis.
I feel like it's cool if she gives it to me. Then
I don't know.
she's like, yeah, go ahead.
But that still doesn't make you Nigerian.
No,
and you would not get offended if somebody said you're not Nigerian. They get
Niggas
offended.
tell me I'm not something every day.
They get offended because they feel like we're trying to take something away from them. Like we're trying to take something away from them. Like, oh, just like how a lot of times.
But it's not yours. We can't take away something that doesn't belong to you. Like,
they feel like they should have a say, that they should be able to obtain it just because they're black. And when we say no, that's not how it works. Even though you're black, you're not Black American, so you still can't have it. They feel offended.
It circles back to us being different.
Yeah, it circles back to us being different. They don't like it. They don't like it. Like, they don't like it. They don't like it.
Why don't you guys like that? Like, what's wrong with being yourselves? And this is...
They're not cool.
Some of you guys aren't cool. There's some Black Americans who aren't cool.
I said in my video that they were swag as dweebs. They got offended.
I saw that. I was,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what's crazy though is like the
they
same
don't
way
have that nigger swag. Sorry,
yeah, that comes with the ER.
Like they don't have that descendant of American chattel slavery swag. But that's fine. Yet again, make your own swag. Do your own thing. Why you gotta be all up on our thing?
It's crazy though that you
Everybody
said that.
Everybody feels entitled to our thing.
Like where you like, where we were talking about where we can pick them out. Yeah. They can pick us out too. Yeah. When I was in Spain, I went to a club with my homegirl, and we were walking past, and there was some black people over there, and I think they're from the UK, and they were like, "You guys are American, yeah?" I was like,
I mean,
yeah.
even
we hadn't spoken a word.
Even like not to get too into like eugenics really, but there's even like a biological aspect to that, because for example, your average Black American, your average descendant of American chattel slavery has roughly 16 to 30% of Caucasian blood, just because of like rape and like slavery. Like, we have a lot of white blood in us. We could have two fully black parents, grandparents. That's also part of why a lot of like descendants of American chattel slavery come in all variations of skin tones. That's something that other types of people that come from, again, majority minority countries, they don't understand. Because, for example, in Africa, something like that, a very light-skinned black person is most likely mixed, biracial. Yeah. So they come here, they see light-skinned people, they be like, oh, biracial. Not every light-skinned person in America is biracial.
Right.
Like, we're light-skinned, or we have certain hair types, or we have certain skin tones, or certain phenotypes, because we do have a substantial amount of white blood that was raped into us, which is also why they say that we are rape babies as an insult. Like, we are different, like even like a little bit like on a biological, which is why a lot of them also say that they are pure and we are mixed, because
I've heard that. Yeah.
Like we do have more white blood in us. Like, we are different than they are. Period.
My emojis are the darkest ones. I use the darkest emoji.
I use the brown one because it's one like I'm brown.
I use the darkest one, and all my friends be like, "Nigga, you're not even that dark." I be like, "Nigga, how I view myself though." How I view myself.
Like we're different in terms of like Black Americans, descendants of American chattel slavery are like really strong. Like, we're strong. Like,
well, I mean, you gotta think about it. Like,
fast,
we were low key bred to be the best of the best.
We were.
But
people don't like it when you say that. think it's so offended.
Like, I mean, I know Black Americans that get offended when they say that, but I'm like, dog,
it's true,
think
but
about
it's
it.
true.
I was like, the strongest survivors, like
half a millennia, 500 years.
Yo.
And I think about this all the time. Like really think about it. And I know I've said this in videos before too. Like really think about it. Like, okay, right? Okay, let's go through it. The timeline, right?
All right.
Middle Passage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Millions of people died during the Middle Passage. I think it was like 4 million, like genocide numbers, right?
Yeah.
So Middle Passage, people died. People were thrown overboard.
Smallpox disease,
Starvation, because they just had them packed in cargo holds, piss and shit everywhere. People were vomiting, throw it up, babies being born, all kind of shit, right? People died. People died. A lot of people died. So those are bloodlines right there that are gone, right? So the strongest people survived the Middle Passage from jump, right? So then you get to the auction block. You like standing up there for like hours at a time, like in the hot sun. You're in a strange land. There's more sickness, more disease. Random white people walking around. They're speaking a language. You don't know what the hell's going on. How many people tried to like run because they didn't even know what the fuck was going on, and they got fucking killed. Dogs chased after them. More people died.
Yeah.
Right? That's more bloodlines right there that are gone. Right? So then you get to the plantation.
Well, it's starting to sound like we're the chosen ones.
So you get
Yo.
So you get to the plantation, and now you're being worked.
Day in,
day out. Sun up, sun down, all day, getting whipped, getting beat, out in the hot sun, out in the field. People getting literally worked to the bone until their bones and ligament. Like, if you really read about slavery, a lot of people don't really know about slavery because we're not really taught. Like, we know vaguely, like, that slavery was horrible, but if you do, like, some real reading about slavery, like, people worked until their bones popped out, ligaments popped out, muscles popped out. People work until they just drop dead. They just can't work anymore. They're exhausted, right? People dropping babies in the field and fucking being raped and being gang raped, being tortured, being abused, right? Like, people died. So that's more bloodlines right there that are gone. And then you have that went on for 400, 500 years. Again, we're talking about half a millennia, right? Of people that you have to physically, to just survive physically.
Yeah,
you have to be
built,
strong.
You have to be built a certain way.
You have to be motherfucking built for tough. Like, you have to
well, maybe not for tough.
You know what I mean. It's a saying.
Yeah.
So we have to, like, physically be strong.
Yeah.
Physically strong. And I also have to say that I do really believe that, like, doing that much stuff for white people didn't have to do nothing. You can't tell me that we didn't grow stronger as they grew weaker. Like, it's a reason why white people are, like, so fucking uncoordinated and they have no rhythm and shit. Like,
and they're being afraid of us. I'm like,
right.
You're afraid of us because you created this monster.
Exactly.
You created this monster.
Exactly.
We're hybrids.
Exactly. So even by the time of the Civil War coming, like, we were just bigger and faster and stronger and more hardy. We are eating the bad food, the spoiled food. So then you have all the people that died from, like, E. coli and food poisoning, basically. So that's why you have niggas nowadays that be like, yeah, nigga, I eat anything. Like, I can eat pig feet. I can eat halfway spoiled.
Pig feet is low-key fire.
I can eat halfway spoiled food, rotten food, like, because we are just, like, our bodies are just, we're different. Like, we're different. Like, we can take a lot because we took a lot historically. Like, we are different than they are in terms of, like, foreign blacks versus, like, American blacks. Like, we're different in terms of biology. Like, we're different in terms of the culture. We're different in terms of everything. And, like, you could even keep going even further down the line of, like, so then the Civil War came, bloodiest war in history, millions of people died. So then if you survive that, and then, like, Reconstruction and segregation and Jim Crow and lynchings and mobs and fires and burnings and tortures, cutting people's ears off, cutting out their genitalia, stringing them up, lighting them on fire. So whole bloodlines wiped out again.
Yeah.
So, like, and then you just, like, keep moving further and further and further through history.
It makes us the best version of ourselves through all of this tragedy, because if you think about it, it's like, okay,
we're the survivors.
Physically we have to be there. Mentally we have to be there, because, like, yo, like, what are they up to now?
Yes.
Like, we have to be one step ahead. And then, like, as soon as something happens, like, okay, we
have to become innovators, because it's like, listen, all we got is these pig feet. So if we don't figure out how to eat these pig feet, we're not gonna eat. Like, all we have are these scraps. If we can't figure out how to eat these scraps, we're not gonna eat. all we have are these scrap clothes. If we don't figure out how to make some clothes, we're gonna be out there naked in the hot sun getting hit with the whip. Like, if we don't figure out how to fucking survive, we not gonna make it. And we still are those same people to this very day.
Which
like,
is why we hustle the way we hustle.
Which is why we hustle
Which is
the
why
way we
we're able
hustle.
to build the things we're able to build.
Which is why we've accomplished what we've even accomplished in such a short amount of time. We have only been free 153 years.
That's crazy. I never really took the time to think about it in that scope. So, yeah, we're pretty dope.
And that's why they get offended when we say no. Because they want...
You know what, I can see it now because
it's like on some, on
a comparative level,
yeah,
it's like
you
what have you done?
Right.
What have you done?
They get offended. You trying to say that this and that. Or even like, you love your big brother. You want to be like your big brother. Like when your big brother be like, shut the fuck up, little nigga. You feel some type of way. like they feel some type of way. And they also, a lot of them do also really feel like we are supposed to be the redheaded stepchild of the diaspora. We are supposed to be the slave babies. We are supposed to be the rape babies. We are supposed to be the mixed babies. We are supposed to be the lost tribe with no home.
That's not elitist shit though.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? And
so it even gets to them that like we are the shit because we supposed to be at the bottom. Like even the fucking New Yorker article that the Nigerian girl wrote was talking about how the way that a lot of people ended up in slavery, the way that slavery is looked at in a lot of African cultures and in her Nigerian culture was that slavery was for the cast-offs of the society. So the criminals, you steal something, they might like put you in slavery. The prisoners of war, just the fucking weirdos, the weirdo in the family that nobody wants to fucking acknowledge, the rival tribe member that you kidnap, like the outcasts are the ones that got sold into slavery for those continental Africans that did participate.
Somehow we're still outcasts.
They still look at us as the outcasts, yes. And yet somehow we ended up, they almost feel like on top, like what the hell, like these American niggers, like god damn it, like that's how they feel, like.
Yo, that's wild.
Like damn, like we tried to fucking get rid of y'all.
We trying to get rid of y'all motherfuckers. We thought for sure we sent you off with these pink skins. We wasn't gonna see y'all no more. This is the end.
Why are you on my TV?
Y'all back? God damn it.
God damn it.
Damn it.
We thought we were gonna get rid of you with the Civil War. God, niggers, damn it. Like, they're mad. A lot of them are mad. Like they're getting into the elitism aspect of it. Like a lot of them are mad. And then I do feel like that. And I do feel like a lot of, like I was reading some comments on the article and there was even like some continental Africans in those comments that was like, I wish we had all got sold into slavery because like we're still in Africa dealing with like corrupt government and like dealing with this and that and like meanwhile, like they live in America, like not saying that it's like fine there, but like I wish I had got sold in this. Like it's like a weird mindset.
But then like even still like when I hear that it's kind of disgusting because like I think one time my homeboy was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of grateful for slavery. He was like, I'm like, whoa, you got to put some context to that,
I feel like
bro.
hindsight is 2020. They look at everything we've done. They look at our culture. They look at, again, we were even just talking about how we are different in terms of like strength and like being innovators and being survivors. Hindsight is 2020 means that like they look at all the good stuff that we have now and they want the good stuff that we have now, but they don't want to have to go through what we had to go through to get it. Just like Paul Mooney says, like everybody want to be a nigga and nobody want to be a nigga. That even applies to like the way that the foreign blacks think about us. Like they want what we have, but nobody had to go through what we went through. Right. So like, stop. But then when you say that, they be like, how? Like,
again,
why don't you want us to have it?
Again, it's always the same thing. It always leads back to having a conversation and seeing how things could be rectified. Identifying what the problem is and looking for a solution. But again,
I don't know what's the solution to that.
Nobody knows what the solution is, and I think that we're not going to find it anytime soon. But the sooner that one, they start building their own shit. Two, we focus on our own shit and stop welcoming everybody and everything, because that is literally our destruction. We miss out on so many opportunities and
stop
things
being so welcoming, niggas. Black Americans.
Off that. We are so cool with everybody. Like, oh yeah, come on through. It's nothing. Da da da. And it's not that. You have to.
It's a holdover behavior. That is a holdover behavior. We have so many holdover behaviors from slavery. That we still do.
I wonder how much stuff that we've like
Lost
carried
stuff.
over, like that is like really prevalent in the things in our behaviors today. Like, again, this conversation was really good because there were aspects of things that I knew about, but I never thought about it from that perspective. So like us being welcoming, and you're like, oh yeah, well, being ripped away from your family, and then being thrown in with some other black
new
people,
niggas.
you're like,
New family.
all right, what's up, bruh?
And then it might happen again. And then you go to another plantation, and then you have another new family.
Yeah.
And then, for all you know, it might even happen again. Like, Black Americans, I would even say, are like very like transient by nature in that
I'd say
way.
that too.
Like,
I'd say that too because even now we're used to not having family or like a like what you would consider a nuclear family, like having your mom, your dad, siblings or whatever. Like dad's already out the picture,
yeah.
and then like you know everything here is
We
like
were talking, last week, you just reminded me, last week during my live stream we were talking about this. We were talking about the concept of family and the concept of like blood relatives and adopting, and we were talking about people having a need for like biological children. And I was like, you know, I even feel like this is another holdover behavior from slavery with Black Americans. Like, how many people do you know that like grandma is like raising the kids?
Yeah.
Like, it's no dad, maybe it's not even no mom, and grandma's raising the kids.
Yeah.
Or you have a whole bunch of cousins that are all being raised together as brother and sister.
Yeah.
Like, or it's you, your brother, and some other nigga that's not even related to y'all, but they don't have no house, no family, so like your mom just like, or your grandma just took them in and is raising them.
Yeah.
Like, that is another type of, I really feel holdover behavior from like American chattel slavery of just like some like, well, we just gotta like look out for everybody because like ain't nobody else gonna do it. And then you have, so for us, I do even feel like when we hear people talking about like I heard some people talking about this, like I wasn't in the conversation, but I heard some Nigerians talking about this thing where they like bury the umbilical cord or something, like I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like something about the umbilical cord. You like bury the umbilical cord where you want to be buried when you die, like, you know, so like that, like where you came into this world is like where you want to like go out, like that's, and it's like a big thing, for example. But it's like for us, we never had nothing like that, because like you, like again, going back to slavery times, like you was born here and then you went here, and then you right, and then you went here, and then you went here. There was probably no documentation of where you were born, like you just don't know, like you just hear and you hear and you hear. So again, like even our whole understanding of the concept of family, the concept of a home, like is different.
Yeah, and to your point, like if you think about it, I know for me, like I know my immediate family, I know some of my dad's side, some of my mom's side, but like knowing the whole spectrum of everything in a family was never really that important, because if I'm not around you, like even when I go to New York, I got family in DC. They're like, how come you didn't come down to DC? I was like, nigga, I was in New York. DC wasn't on a thing. So it's like who's ever around me becomes family. You know what I mean? That's wild. That's wild. And then for us, it's not even that big a deal, because we can only go so far back in the family tree anyway.
Like I said, slavery ended 153 years ago. People don't recognize how close that is. Really, like. So like I'm sitting here, so like I have a mother and a father. I have two sets of grandparents, a grandmother, a grandfather, a grandmother, a grandfather. And then I have great grandparents. So like I knew my great grandmother, she died when I was a teenager. Like I knew her very well. Her mother, who would have been my great grandmother, was a slave.
That's wild.
And I knew that woman. She died when I was a teenager. Like I have very vivid memories of her. And her daughter, my grandmother, is still alive, and my mother and father are still alive, and obviously I'm alive. So like I knew that woman, her mother was a slave. That is how close slavery is for us. So past my great grandmother, who I knew, her mother, who I did not know, past that there is no family, there is no nothing, because past that is slavery. People don't understand that. It's very hard for non-descendants of American chattel slavery to grasp that. Very hard. And that's why when people, and even foreign blacks, be like, well, slavery ended a long time ago, why can't you guys just like get over it? Like, move on, move forward. We come over here, we have bad things happen to us. We, like, why can't you go? It's like, that shit is right there.
Yeah, I mean,
that
not only that,
far.
that's not, like, when something, like, changes an entire way that something, like, a people function. Like, you're taken from somewhere else, everything's stripped from you, language, like, land, everything. You have nothing, so you build everything. And then for somebody to say, like, hey, get over it, when we're still currently being affected by it, like we're not necessarily dealing with slavery in and of itself, but there's different forms of slavery, but there's like so many things that are implemented, which we constantly deal with every day, and it roots from that. So that's like, hey, that's our North Star. Like, you see that? That shit happened. That shit is still happening currently. Like, there's still stuff that came from that we are still dealing with. So like, when you say get over it, it's like being dismissive of everything, like nothing is still going on.
And again, it went on for like half a millennia. Like, can we at least get another half a millennia
to
out?
Chill?
Right.
To chill? You know what I'm saying? Like,
before we have to get over it, like,
I don't think we should ever get over it.
That's why
when you were like, I was like, I like the callback because it's a constant reminder. And as
I don't think we should ever get over it. It created us. How can we get over it?
The thing,
people don't like when you say this because people be like, we're more than slaves. But it's
of course. But my nigga, we definitely need the callback, because when you start thinking about our future generations who have no concept of this, they're not learning in school because you got things like Texas, like, let's just take that out of the history books real quick. That never happened.
They were migrants.
Well, fuck yeah, they just figured they'd come here because it was just so fucking lit.
Work for free for the sheer thrill of it.
They got fucking cotton over there, nigga. Let's go. Like, I'm gonna pick that shit, please. Nah, like, I mean, we need that callback so, like, the younger generations can have some kind of like, oh shit, this is some real thing, because as we distance ourselves from it, like, you start to lose that importance or what, like, that's...
Which is also why I don't like the fucking Pan-Africanism shit, because we do not all have the same history. We might all be black, but we do not have the same history. We do not have the same racial identity. We are all different. We have different histories and different racial identities, and we cannot forget. Like, we should not forget it. Like,
remember who you are.
Yes, like, it does matter. It does matter. And again, like, even getting into, like, that shit, it really impacted our behavior, impacted the way that we move, the way that we think. It impacted us as innovators. It impacted the way that we think about a concept of family. It impacted us being welcoming. It impacted us physically in terms of our bodies. Like, I don't want to say that, like, we are it, but like that like, we are here, the people that we are, because of and in spite of American chattel slavery, like, simultaneously, like, at the same time. Like, that shit is like a huge aspect of our racial identity, and people just want to, like, forget that, and then they want to just be able to come here and be like, well, we're American now, like, and we are exactly the same, and like, we're all black, and like, why are you trying to, like, take our whatever? But it's like, no, like, you need to fucking recognize, like, that was some real ass shit that happened that impacted us, and it's really still not even that far away.
I mean, even if it was 1,000 years away, like, it still affected us.
But even just the fact that it's not so far away.
It's in reach.
Like, it's impacting me and you right now very specifically. I went to Alabama with my ex. I talked about this.
Shit.
Like, my ex whole family is, one side of the family is from Alabama, the other side of the family is from Miami, Black Americans. I talked to my ex's grandmother, who's still alive, who was there on the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday, like, marching with Martin Luther King. Like, people read about this shit in books and they think this shit was like 1,000 years ago. Like, I talked to this woman who was like, them crackers were trying to kill us. Like, they had the dogs, they had the water hoses, you had people jumping over the side of the bridge, like, giving me, like, a first-hand account. Like, this is, like, real. Like, it's very real, and it's impacting us. It's not impacting everybody black.
Exactly.
Like, it impacts us very specifically. It's why we are here in a lot of ways, moving the way that we move, behaving the way that we behave, doing the things that we do, again, in good and bad ways. It made us innovators. We were able to accomplish a lot because we have that really, literally nobody gonna do it for us. Like, these white people not gonna do it for us. Like, nobody gonna help us. We have to do it, and if we don't do it, like, we will die.
And the crazy part about it is it's instilled in us that, like, even when somebody wants to help us, we're skeptical of that shit. Like, why the fuck would you want to help us?
Why would you want to help us?
Why the fuck would you want to help us? Like, I'm not buying it.
I'm not with it.
We'll do it ourselves. We're fine. You can slap me that bread though. Send me the bag. Send me the bag.
It's just like people need to people don't respect. I think a lot of it is respect also. People don't respect us. They don't respect
the
what
differences.
And they don't,
That's
they don't,
it.
They don't respect the differences, and they don't really respect what happened. Like
the whole process.
The whole process.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to. I don't think that will ever get to a point where people are like, yeah, that shit was horrible. That they'll be like, oh, that's unfortunate, but it's not happening now. Y'all good. I think that we'll kind of have to leave it there. But I need for people to like be able. Oh, tired.
No, well, technically when you yawn, that means your brain needs oxygen.
I heard that.
It's true.
I heard.
Your brain just normally needs oxygen when you're sleepy, but you don't always have to be sleepy just because you're yawning. Fun fact. I read it. Continue.
They said to hide it in a book. No, but I was just saying, in regards to like, I don't think we'll ever get to a point where people will be like, yo, I respect the fact that you guys went through this. I think that it just needs to be a general understanding, and again, going back to just like respecting those differences. So we can say, okay, you guys went through that, we didn't have to go through that, so I'm not going to tell you how to feel.
Go through that, so you didn't have to go through that.
Oh. But like, yeah, so it's one of those situations in where I think the biggest disconnect is people want to tell you how to feel when they haven't been through a situation. Like, okay, we didn't deal with that thing, we didn't have to go through that, so let's not tell you how to feel or how to react to certain things. Let's ask you how you feel about it. What can we do to help?
But that's respect also.
Yeah.
You have to have a certain level of respect to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
And people don't respect us.
I think largely that's the thing. Like, I still couldn't get over when on your Instagram stories, oh boy, it was like, when you finally realize you're African. I was like, dog, she just said, please don't refer to me as African. That's one thing. So like, you completely completely disregarded everything you said, and like, nigga, I know genetically that, like, people from way back in the day, that's where we came from. I actually say it when I say I'm a descendant of African chattel slavery. So there's your nod to African, but I'm not African, my nigga.
And my nationality is not even African.
Exactly.
Like, it's American.
Exactly.
Like, that whole exchange, have you seen Roots?
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a reverse Roots scene. You know how in Roots, when Massa is like, whipping fucking Kunta Kinte, and he's like, what's your name? And he's like, Kunta Kinte, and he's like, Toby! Yeah. I felt like I was in a reverse Roots scene, where he was like, what are you? And I was like, I'm American, and he was like, you're African! You're African! You're African! That was how I felt.
Yo.
Say you're African! No, I'm American! Say you're African! No, I'm American!
He wanted that so bad.
He wanted me to say I was African so bad.
Because then that gives him a specific power. Because now it becomes, how African are you? It goes from like, because if you're American, you're like, okay, I'm American. He has no say in that. He's African, you're American, fine. And we just both happen to be black.
Right.
So you're a form of
black.
And
also now it becomes, oh, you're African, I'm African. So again, whatever culture you have, I can say is derived from me. Absolutely. And I have a claim to it. I can completely disregard the half a millennia that black Americans, descendants of American chattel slavery, were thrown through time and space, and I can grab your whole black American culture, and I could walk out the door with it, and I could put it on, and I could say, well, you're African, I'm African, so it is mine.
Right. But then, again, like I said, it also becomes, how African are you the second you say you're African. You say you're African, like, from what country are you from?
Right. And then they start getting into you have to like do the DNA test and the genealogy to find out where you're from. You need to like find your roots, and it's like,
so
why don't my southern roots, my North Carolina roots, like, why can't those be my roots?
Well, yeah. So like my mom's from Birmingham, Alabama. My dad's from DC, So, like, that's a thing in and of itself. But I wanted to do the African ancestry just to get like some of the genealogy, so like for the back stuff.
I seen the 6th Day. They could not have my DNA, so they could clone.
No.
You
I
ever
wanted
seen
to
that
do
movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh no. Check this out. The government already has us.
I know everyone always says this, but
they
still,
are,
I'm not gonna participate.
They already got us.
I'm
like,
not gonna willingly participate.
Yo, you get locked up on a misdemeanor. They swabbing your cheek out the gate.
Okay.
So they got us, like all kinds of stuff, medical records, all of that. Like, oh yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna willingly participate, but continue.
No, I feel you. But like my whole thing with that is like to get a sense beyond what I have here, because there's so little of information for my family that I have here, and then because I'm in California, and then the whole rest of my family, Alabama, DC, I'm not over there. I'm in California largely, and then when I go over there, I'm like chilling with my cousins or some shit, not really doing anything like family history type stuff, because again, they don't really know either.
Yeah.
So like it was just to have a connection to something else. But
I know there's people that are into that. I'm just not into that.
But like even in doing that, because I was like, I'm gonna do the test, and if it says I'm from here, then I'm gonna go to these countries. The main reason I'm doing that is because I enjoy travel, and I like going and experiencing different cultures, different places, and stuff like that. But it's not like if it said, like my blood test come back and was like, oh yeah, you from Cameroon. I can't just go to Cameroon and be like, what's up, nigga? It's me. I'm your cousin.
It's me.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna put me up for a little while?
It's me.
You can't do that. You can't do that. So like the fact that somebody else can come here with no connection to American culture whatsoever, and then just reap all the benefits is kind of crazy.
It is.
It's kind of crazy.
It's a little bit fucked up. A lot of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of bit fucked up. Yo, man.
It is.
It's
I
wild.
mean, I feel like for people that like to travel, for people that are just interested, people that are into like genealogy and family trees and roots and stuff like that, and for people that like, I know people that want that kind of thing because they want to know like, because it's like certain diseases that are more prevalent in certain places, like in terms of like sickle cell, like how more black people get sickle cell, for example, than like white
niggas be
people.
like somebody tried to clown somebody the other day, it was like sickle cell anemia. I was like, nigga, go to Egypt. Get
Right.
bit by a mosquito. Them niggas is alright.
Yeah.
Malaria? What malaria?
Yeah.
Sickle cell cutting right through that. It's a reason for
Like
it.
people, right? Like people want to know, but this whole idea of that we have to do it
You don't have to do
because
shit.
we are lost. We some lost tribe. We have to do it so we could like know who we quote unquote are, know our roots. Like I'm just very resistant to that because
Our
I feel
roots
like
are
I know,
directly American.
right? Like I know who I am. Like I mean, and like American chattel slavery even predates the Revolutionary War. So like we were here even before America was America. Like people ask me all the time, like, well, if like all the foreigners left, what would we do? I was like, man, you have to leave that up to the descendants of American chattel slavery and the indigenous people, like the indigenous Americans, and we could figure that shit out amongst ourselves. Like we are the only two groups in this country that have nowhere to go. Like,
Right.
and the descendants.
I think
of
that shit would be lit. If it was just black Americans and Native Americans, that should be so dope.
And even getting back again to the idea of family, even if all descendants of American chattel slavery, if we all did fucking genealogy, whatever, DNA tests and stuff, we would all be from different places.
Yeah.
We are here united as black Americans, as descendants, because we all came from different places, but we all became one thing through slavery
Yeah.
even. So it's just like, that's just who we are now. Those are our roots. That's who we are now.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's it.
And then we're all mixed up anyway. So
And we have so much white blood, like, people be getting their tests and they be like, "Ooh, I found out I was 30% Italian."
See, look. So I wanted to do the African ancestry test because, like, I'd be so pissed. I'd be so pissed if I took one of those tests and they were like, "Yo, you like 40% European." I need like a 90 percentile, and then I was like the other.
I just want to know where I'm from in Africa. I don't want to know anything else.
yo, if they tell me like, yeah, you're Irish and shit, I'd be like, the fuck out of here. Like
The New York Times did a study where genealogists studied across like generations of Black Americans' descendants. And they found literally that on average, so it could even be like obviously more or less, but like on average, your average descendant literally has 16 to 30% white blood, even if there's no immediate white relative anywhere. 16 to 30% is a lot.
I'm pissed. If my thing came back, and I was scared too because my dad's hella light skinned, right? Like in the 60s, he was drinking from white water fountains, not getting questioned by the white people.
Baby.
Yo, no, like if you see my dad, he is pink, like with natural light brown and blonde hair, light eyes, all of that.
Oh yeah, you'd be mad when your test comes back.
I don't want that. Like for a long portion of time, I was like, I was like, yeah, he's not my real dad. Like niggas was like, that's your dad. Like people would come to the house and be like, that's not your dad. I was like, that's my dad.
Sleeping with the movement.
Yo, then like I saw like a blonde hair in my beard, and I was like, oh, okay. So and I was like, yeah.
And even that, yeah, like that's our history. Like a lot of us have like some white family members, some white cousins, some white cousins in the deep south, like.
Oh yeah.
Because that's just, again, like that is who we became. And I even find it weird when people start getting into the, do the DNA test and the ancestry, like, because it almost seems like, how does
it's not enough.
It's like, that's not enough.
It's not enough.
Like, again, respect. There's no respect for that portion of our lineage and what we went through.
Yeah.
How are we going to just skip over, right? Like, we're just going to skip over, like, 500 years is a long time. Like, we're just going to skip over 500 years to, like, jump back to our true roots.
If you think about where you are currently, so the 150 plus the 500, and then prior to that, and then in Africa, so, like, we're negating all of that.
650 years, so we could, like, jump back to Africa, because the Africa is our real roots. And that's what really matters. That's offensive.
Yeah, that's just saying like everything that we went through doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Everything that we accomplished doesn't matter. It's spitting in our face.
It's spitting in our face, and I really feel like it's spitting on the graves of like the enslaved people, like the ones that died
before us,
the ones that survived. Like it's like saying like none of that shit matters. Y'all are a lost tribe. Your real roots are in Africa. That shit is not real. It's fake. It's made up. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Again, even getting back to the conversation about culture. It's not a real culture. It's made up. Like, well, that's who we are. We're made up. Like, that's who we are.
Don't get me on the thoughts of like what's virtual and what's real, because everything's fucking fake.
I mean, everything's made up.
Everything's fucking fake.
Everything's made up.
But like, what was I gonna say?
There's no respect.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's no respect at all. At all.
I'm not even interested. I'm sure that mine would also be like copious amounts of
not copious
Caucasian. Because my grandmother is very light, and my great grandmother that I knew was like almost white passing.
It's a thing here. Like a lot of us would be like, yo, I'm part Indian. Like, you know what I mean? So like they'll be like, yeah, Native American. I'm Cherokee.
But there even were some indigenous tribes that did also have slaves as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I even say, like, let us sort that shit out with them. Like, we could sort it out with them if it ever came to that.
Low-key, in some shape or fashion, everybody benefited from slavery except the actual slaves.
Except the slaves. Everybody benefited except us. And then you had all these people that got to come over here. The Irish got to come over here and step on the backs of black Americans.
Because they were getting shit on
to
first.
become white.
Yeah, they were getting shit on.
They were on some, well, at least we're not black. Like
exactly.
the Italians got to come over here and shit on black Americans to become white, working towards whiteness. Eastern European Jews fleeing for persecution in Europe got to come over here. Well, at least we're not black. And work their way to whiteness. At least we're not black. And now you have foreign blacks that get to come over here.
At least we're not black.
At least we're not black American. Yep. We're not slaves. We're not the descendants of slaves. So we're better. And they get to step. Everybody gets to step on.
God.
It's like black American stepping stone. Like, how do we get ahead? Step on those niggas.
I was talking to this Nigerian girl, and we had to stop talking promptly because we were having this conversation. I'm going to stall you out. I'm not going to say your name, even though I kind of want to, yet. We were talking, and then we were having this conversation on the phone, and then I forgot what exactly the conversation was, but she said out of her mouth, oh, I'm sorry, my grandparents weren't slaves or that. I was like, how the fuck could you even fit your mouth to say that, knowing that, one, you're a first generation American, so you're a black American. Granted, your you have Nigerian, like
you're not a descendant of American child slavery.
Exactly. But
I like African American for them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more appropriate.
Yeah, so I'm like, you're African American, so like you should have. Well, no. So she's not gonna have the same.
She's Nigerian, you said.
Yeah.
Like you're Nigerian American.
Yeah, but she's not gonna have the same. She's not gonna have the same experience because her parents are from another country. Mm-hmm. So, like.
Oh my God! And don't get me started on that.
That I was like, for you to fix your mouth to say that, like.
Well, like I said, they get to come over here and not be descended from slaves. And even the West Indians and the Caribbeans that come over here, they get to not be American chattel slavery.
Well, I mean, so
everybody gets to step on us.
Well,
everybody.
I mean, so the thing is, like, no matter what people look like, if I look at you and see you're black, I look at a West Indian and say you're black, I look at an African and say you're black. Yeah, we're black, we look the same, we have some similar features or whatever. But the thing is, I'm not black. I'm this, I'm that.
I'm Nigerian,
so like
I'm not black.
Exactly, I'm not black, I'm this.
I'm not black,
like,
I'm Dominican. I'd be like,
well, I mean, that's large.
I mean, a lot of them are not black, but a lot of them are black.
No, like, so the first time I went to Africa, I went with my homeboy, he's Dominican, but that nigga knows what's up. He was like, yeah, slavery, da-da-da-da. Like, he was like, yeah, black. He was like, I get it.
I'm from D.C. where there's like a lot of like Eastern Africans, like Ethiopians and like Eritreans and Somalians, and they'll be like, I'm not black, I'm Ethiopian, I'm Eritrean, I'm Somalian. And again, getting back to like differences in culture, descendants of American chattel slavery be like, I don't understand. Like, how can you say I'm not Ethiopian, I'm black? I mean, I'm not black, I'm Ethiopian.
Yeah.
For us, that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we are the main ones that be like, we're all black, I don't understand. They be the ones that want the separation until it comes time to take advantage. Then, again, double dipping, triple dipping, picking and choosing what they want, Like,
you dip in, you take a bite, you dip again.
Like, we don't do that. Like, we don't do that. We
because
don't do that.
We can't.
We can't. And that's why it's cultural appropriation. We can't be nothing except what we are.
Exactly.
That's why it's cultural appropriation. When the white people do it, it's exactly the same. When the fucking non-black persons of color, the fucking Asians and the Latinx people do it, it's exactly the same. When these foreign blacks do it, they might be black, but it's exactly the same. We can't be nothing except what we are. We can't decide, well, tomorrow I'm going to be Cameroonian. We can't be nothing except what we are, and that's descendants. They need to back up. That's really how I feel. Like, they need to really back off.
Let us have our shit.
Yes. And even getting into what you were just saying about how she's a first generation, but she has a different culture. They don't even like when you say that. I got into a huge argument with a friend that's Jamaican because my friend was like, well, I was born here. I was born in the Bronx. My parents are Jamaican immigrants, but I was born here. So how can you say that I'm different from you? I was like, you had a totally different upbringing at home.
Yeah.
Because both of your parents are Jamaican immigrants.
Yeah, so they're going to raise you like they did in
Jamaica.
Yeah.
You have now maybe once you leave the home,
then you're going to have your own experience.
Right, but at home, and you're so much of like your identity, like when you're a small child.
Your identity is formed as Jamaican.
It's formed at home with your parents.
Exactly.
Your identity is formed as Jamaican. You're eating different foods. You're listening to different music. You're probably wearing different types of clothes. You're just into different types of things. It's a different culture. Again, we're different. So you cannot tell me, well, I'm American just like you, we're exactly the same. No, we're not the same. Like, I'm a descendant and you are not. Like, I can't be anything except what I am. Exactly. You can decide, you want to be Jamaican today, you want to be American from the Bronx tomorrow. I don't have that choice. That's why it's not fair, and they need to back off. That's why it's cultural appropriation, because we don't have no choice. Like, we don't have any choices.
And again, I think that people are getting upset because we want to have our own shit. That shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't be a problem. Why is it a problem?
It shouldn't be a problem that we want to have our own shit because you have your own shit and you take pride in it.
They want to be able to do both.
Yeah, that's wild.
And even when I was talking to my friend was like, during the Olympics, I root for Jamaica. I was like, I mean, I don't really watch the Olympics. I don't really root for anybody. But like, if I was gonna root for somebody, I would root for America. Like, I'm American. Like, and I do know a lot of people that feel like, well, they prefer to like root for like the team with the most black people. I know like a lot of black.
That's how we switch it.
Right.
That's like what we did with the World Cup.
Right.
Be like, oh wait, yeah, we going for France because it's black.
Right, and that's also again behavior of descendants. We going for who's black.
Yep.
He did not say he's going for whoever is black. He said,
Jamaica.
I'm rooting for Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a difference. It's a difference in culture. It's a difference in upbringing. It's a difference in the way that we think. We are different. I've used this example several times. I'm sure people are tired of hearing me saying it, but it is a perfect example. I said I didn't want to buy Shea Moisture anymore because, number one, the fucking owner is a coon. He sold out. He sold the business to Unilever, which is white-owned, devil, demonic-ass fucking company that sells skin bleaching products all over the world. Even before that, I could tell he was going to sell because he was like, he had my coon senses was just going. I don't know if that's a holdover from American chattel slavery. We had to be like, that nigga gonna tell massa.
You know what?
I got the coon sense.
No,
like,
that's crazy because if you think about that in terms of our culture today, like the whole snitches get stitches
I
thing.
have a sense.
That's crazy.
People be like, you're tripping. I'd be like, that's a coon. They'd be like, how do you know? I'd be like, I can smell it. Like, he's going to tell. Like, and then what happened? He sold to Unilever. And everybody was like, oh my God, you were right. I was like, I told you. I could sniff out a coon, okay? Like, I know. Like, okay? Like, overseers, house niggas, coons. I can look at them and I can just fucking tell. Like, I'm a descendant. Like, I have a sense, okay? And the girl was like, the girl I was talking to was like, black girl, African girl, was like, well, I'm going to keep supporting because I feel like, you know, he's African and I'm African. She
the
didn't
company
say,
is sold. 1, 2, come on.
he's African and I'm African. So I feel like I have to keep supporting. Yet again, not.
Black.
He's black and I'm black.
Right.
He's African
That's very specific.
and I'm African.
That's
It's
very
very
specific.
specific. But when we say, okay, well, I'm a descendant and you're a descendant, so we need to stick together,
Yeah.
they start crying about, well, we all black. Like, it's a double
There's
standard.
just-
They
there's
want to
just-
double dip.
Hey guys, there's just gonna be certain shit that we identify with as descendants that you guys just won't get, and that's fine. It's
Like
okay.
the coon spidey sense.
Yeah, yo, that shit is
You
real.
can tell a coon.
You can. You can.
You can really tell. I hate Trevor Noah. I never liked Trevor Noah.
Why not?
Oh my God. Number one, Trevor Noah he's from South Africa. Why is he fucking giving his weird commentary on American racial politics? You do not understand American race relations or the infrastructure of American racism. You
Sure.
understand that shit in South Africa, which is a totally different beast, a totally different animal. Like, you
Well,
are a
they
lot-
built that shit
like,
based off of what they saw here, but like that's
it's still
yeah,
different.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still different. I can, and again, double dipping. Can I go to South Africa and get hired as a fucking commentator on South African race relations and politics as an American, as a descendant?
I don't want to say, I can't say no.
No.
I can't say no. Because it's a little bit different there. Because like, even while I was there, it was easy for me to find work, and I wasn't looking for work. But that was largely because, guess what?
What?
I'm a black American.
Can I get hired to give racial specific commentary on South African race relations specifically? Not just random work. I find that
For the
extremely
sake of
hard
your
to
argument, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna be in agreement with you.
What even will make me an expert? Like, what makes me an expert? Like, I could
What
even if
are
I
you
read,
talking
like,
about?
even
It's
if I read,
2018. You don't need facts.
exactly, that's the problem.
You don't need
Like,
facts.
even if I read all the books, even if I, like, that's not something I've ever experienced. I've never,
what does qualify somebody as an expert on specific issues?
I think when it comes to race-related
Actual
issues,
experience?
I think actual experience matters. Because exactly what we were talking about, even if because people love to say, like, well, the big goal is white supremacy. Okay, even if the big goal is fighting white supremacy, even if the big oppressor is white supremacy, yet again, white supremacy manifests in different ways. It oppresses all of us in different ways. Like, I could read, right, like, I could read all day about fucking Zwart Piet, which is like the fucking black nigger fucking Santa Claus in Europe, right?
I read about that bullshit.
I've never seen that. I've never experienced that. I've never been in a predominantly white Swedish classroom with a bunch of my fellow classmates in blackface talking about Zwart Piet, and that's supposed to be normal. I don't know what that's like. I could read about it. I could watch the movies about it. I could call myself an expert, but do I know what that is like to the ability of being able to give some type of competent
commentary
on it, no.
Okay.
I don't think it's appropriate. Like, I don't think it's appropriate. And that's a two-way street. I don't think it's appropriate. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to go do it. It's
Or
not appropriate for them to come do it.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I don't think.
I just think he's funny.
He's funny, but nigga, be a comedian. Don't be a racist political comment. Don't be a racist political comment.
I think that's why he actually got the show, because he's a comedian. Who's doing the show?
Nigga, be Eddie Murphy. Don't try to talk to me about race.
Eddie Murphy's not doing anything right now.
And Eddie Murphy also would never get hired to host the Daily Show.
Well, Eddie Murphy be busy in leather, so.
Like when Trevor Noah had Tommy Loren on, I really felt like, no, you don't have an understanding. You don't have an understanding of the vile nature of the things that this white American blonde woman is saying. Like, the things that she's saying are vile consistently, and they have historical context against descendants of American chattel slavery.
Which he wouldn't understand because,
which he wouldn't understand because he's South African. It's not just that she, like, says controversial things, or just that she even just says racist things. She says very specifically vile things about black children, about black men, about, like, she, like, very racially charged statements with historical context that you do not understand. A black American, a descendant of American chattel slavery, in that role would never, I do not believe, in that role on the Daily Show. Now, we all know Charlemagne the Coon God was hanging out with the bitch, but I do not believe that a descendant of American chattel slavery in that role on the Daily Show, like, I don't think that even Jon Stewart, I don't think that Jon Stewart would have had her come on there. He's a white American with an understanding of that shit.
Yeah.
Trevor Noah did not understand how serious the things that she was saying really were. That's like if I go to fucking South Africa and somebody's going around saying, like, cat for this, cat for that, da 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 da.
Ooh.
I don't know really very much about that word. That word's not going to hit me. So that's like I'm hosting the show and I have the person on, oh, here's the person that's been calling everybody Kafirs. Everybody would be like, no, no, like, that's not appropriate. Like, you can't do that. Like, there are certain, and that's also a part of culture. We were talking about, like, what is culture? Like, there are nuances in culture that you do have to be in the culture to understand.
Exactly.
And if you're not in the culture, maybe you should not be talking about that shit.
Exactly.
Because you don't have that understanding. And, like, relax. And even, like, I even remember around the time, a lot of people got upset. And he was, like, very confused.
As to why? Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, in anything, like, when people are upset with you, I think you need to just chill out and then just look at it from their perspective, which is what we're talking about here, as in regards to, like, people getting upset that we want to have our own identity apart from...
And represent ourselves.
Exactly. So, just, you don't have to like it. You don't have to understand it. But if you sit back and then just dissect and like, oh, that's all they're doing, they just want to have their own identity? Fine. I didn't know that that's what they were doing. I thought they were just trying to exclude us from everything. No.
But they feel like us wanting our own identity is exclusion.
It's not, though. It's just us having our own shit. Literally. It's like you have younger brothers, siblings, or whatever, and your mom buys you a toy. It's your fucking toy. Of course, they may play with it, but it's your fucking toy. So when you're ready to go, my toy, nigga. That's it.
But then you would have some, sticking with that analogy, moms or dads or parents that would say, well, you the big brother, why can't you just be nice and give it to him?
Ooh.
And I feel you have a lot of people that have that type of sentiment.
Man, we kind of stumbled in that. That was a really good analogy in the way you flipped it right there. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? You got people who have... We say,
fuck no, little nigga, it's mine.
Right, and then that's going to play really well on the edit. The slipper coming off. Maybe that's the thumbnail. No, but like, when you think about it like that, so the parent would be representative of who? Somebody who has more influence amongst black people?
I would say that, like, well, I think I would say that in that analogy, maybe the foreign blacks would consider themselves to be like the parent and the younger sibling.
Like, in a sense that we're from Africa, saying that you're from here, and then saying,
but they are also the lesser, quote unquote, known, or, you know, like, they're the little sibling now, so like, why can't we?
Okay. Okay.
On someone, they're the parent in a sense that they feel like we came from them, but they're also the little sibling.
Because we're not getting the same recognition you guys are.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
So why can't we give it to them?
Because it's ours.
No, it's ours.
It's ours.
I say that all the time to kids. I hate when parents do that.
Yeah, that's your toy. You don't have to share your shit.
I tell kids all the time, like, they don't, like, no, I'd be like, it's yours, you don't have to share. And if I see, like, a little sibling that's, like, like cousins, everything, I see, like, a little sibling that's, like, pestering an older sibling, well, share, like, give me a turn, it's my turn. I say all the time, like, it's theirs. They don't have to share if they don't want.
Right.
They don't have to give you a turn if they don't want. They can, I guess, out of the goodness of their heart if they want to, but
that
also,
usually works against you.
Right, but that all usually works against you. And also, I say to the little kids all the time, like, I've seen you. You break shit, little kid. They don't have to share it with you. Like,
that was a perfect analogy. That shit worked out well. That's
true.
Off the top of the dome.
That's what we do. We're innovators. We make it work. I was watching some other shit there on YouTube where these, like, two sports commentators we're talking about, like, the number of, like, descendants that are, like, professional athletes. And they were like, you know, also considering that, like, Black Americans are, like, a minority in the population, the fact that we, like, dominate the professional sports, they were like, it's really an anomaly. They were like, because in terms of just sheer numbers, in terms of statistics,
right,
there should be more white people in these leagues.
Of course, because
just because
they're
it's
the
more
majority,
of them, right?
yeah.
Like, it's more of them. So they were like, the fact that, like, this like, the leagues are dominated by descendants, and that this many descendants are even good enough to get into the leagues is amazing. They were like, that's astounding. Like, that's really a testament to just, like, they were just like, it was on YouTube, so they could say whatever they want, obviously. They were like, I hate to say it, but it's just like, they're better. Like, they're better. Like, they're faster. They're stronger. They can do more naturally. Like, like, they're just better. They were like, and I hate to say it because I know it, like, sounds fucked up, but
yeah.
Like, if you just, like, look at the numbers, it doesn't make sense, really. Like, it's wild.
And that's funny too, because, like, if you think about all the people who come over here for opportunities, and then you think about, like, since we're talking about sports, recently there was a guy who just got drafted into the NFL, or he's an NFL player, and I think he's, like, the first African player in the NFL, like, from Africa, and he's from Zimbabwe, and I don't know if he was trolling or whatever. Did you see this?
I didn't see this, no.
I think he was trolling.
I'm just laughing because it's like he's the first one.
It's what I could be wrong on that, but that's how I understood it. But because, like, they were doing a story on it, and he's from Zimbabwe, and the reason I know about it is because my homeboy from Zimbabwe was pissed because, like, they interviewed the dude. Like, he grew up out there, then they moved out here, whatever, and he ended up getting in the league. Like, he was out there for like 9 years, came out here, whatever. He was talking about, yeah, we had to hunt for food, like, we had it really bad, like, we were eating squirrels and, like, hunting deer. And my homeboy is like, what fucking part of Zimbabwe were you in hunting deer and eating squirrels?
This is even getting back to what we were talking about, how the ones that come over here have the money to come over here. They're living relatively comfortably, but they still get to, like, run with this, like,
this sob story.
This, like, poor African narrative.
Yeah. And then
double dipping,
and
like,
my homeboy,
dipping.
My homeboy Joniswe, he was so pissed. He
double
was like,
dipping in identity. Whatever they want to be, whatever identity works for the moment. So, like, I'm gonna be the poor African for the moment, and then I want to be
that's gonna play up really well with the whites.
Exactly. But then when the time comes for me to be like, nigga, listen to the trap music, I want to put on my Black American identity for the moment. And then when it comes time for me to, like, do some other shit, I want to put on some other shit for the moment. Double dipping, triple dipping, picking up and putting on identity like a cult. That's culture vulture. It's bullshit. Stop that shit. Like, they have to stop. They have to stop. Like, they have to stop. And then you even have people that say, like, well, if fucking descendants are, like, so great, like, why are they suffering and why are we struggling? It's like, because we have infrastructure that's designed to work against us. They don't have no understanding.
I was like, yo, as many strides as we have made,
it's amazing.
It's crazy that we've been able to make these strides because there's so much shit going against us on a regular basis.
At all times.
Yeah, like, there's no break.
From everywhere.
And then the second somebody makes a breakthrough, they be like, oh, let's amend this shit. Because way too many people get through now. Like, they got the keys to this shit. Let's change the lock on the door. So, and then it also plays into the shit that like happened with slavery where niggas don't want to give other niggas a chance because they be like, yeah, I made it. I can't tell you how I did it though, my nigga. I mean, I guess you could figure out. They don't want to give them the building blocks for other Black Americans to put themselves in a position where they can help other people, like mentorship and all of that. Like that's super lacking.
You have a lot of people that have special snowflake, like Negro syndrome. They want to be the only Negro in the room.
Yeah, they
want to be the only Negro in the room.
And that shit is so trash.
Cam Newton. Wow. They want to be the only Negro in the room.
That shit is so trash to me because it's like you've been given this opportunity and you can literally change somebody's life or just put them in a better position where they can do things for themselves and not have like the same amount of hardships that you've had. But you'd much rather have other people suffer and look at you as an anomaly. Like it makes them
feel good.
That shit is trash.
When people are telling you you're not like those other niggers, it makes a lot of niggers feel good.
You just like them other niggers.
You are exactly like them other niggers. Oh, your shit's ringing.
Oh yeah, that means the battery's about to die. So I guess we'll wrap it up. Yeah. But not really wrap it up. Rawsies for life. Condoms are the devil.
You're just like those other niggers.
Condoms are blocking your blessings.
I'm gonna leave it there.
So if you take anything away from this, that's what you should take away.
I feel like that one would actually be probably a good part one.
Oh, the first one? The one we just did?
The one we just
did? Okay, yeah.
And the other one would probably be a good part two because we ended